How does a man, once rejected by his crush, go on to become America's ultimate playboy? Not just any playboy, but a man who lived a life everyone dreamed of.
My name is Hugh Hefner. I'm 35 years of age and I'm editor-publisher of Playboy Magazine.
Yes, we're talking about Hugh Hefner, founder of Playboy. Born in Chicago to a strict Methodist family, Hefner didn't let his upbringing hold him back. Instead of following the rules, he followed his dreams and built a magazine empire that made him famous worldwide. Hefner's journey began after his service in the U.S. Army, when he was discharged in 1946. He briefly attended the Art Institute of Chicago before enrolling at the University of Illinois, where he majored in psychology. But it wasn't just academics that shaped his path. Hefner found his passion for writing and cartoons, becoming a regular contributor to the campus newspaper, the Daily Illini. During this time, he also had a deep relationship with his college sweetheart, Mildred Williams. Mildred wasn't just his love, she was his biggest supporter, encouraging him to chase his dreams, no matter how big they seemed. After graduating in 1949, Hugh married Mildred and stepped into the world of responsibility. He landed a copywriting job at Esquire, a magazine he had always admired for its bold take on men's interests. Writing promotional content sharpened Hugh's creative skills and gave him a peek into the publishing world. But something was missing, the spark that fueled his own dreams. In January 1952, a pivotal moment arrived. When Esquire denied his request for a $5 raise, Hugh saw it as a sign. He walked away, determined to carve his own path in publishing. This bold decision marked the beginning of a journey that would change everything. Now Hugh was ready to change the world. From the moment he had the idea, he was determined to create a magazine that would be bold, different, and break all the rules. It wasn't just about showing skin. It was about mixing sophistication with adult themes, appealing to a crowd that was looking for something fresh. But there was a big challenge. He didn't have the money to make it happen. Hugh knew that without investors, his dream would stay just that, a dream. He thought big, and when you think big, the first step is to get others to believe in your vision. Hugh didn't have a lot of backing at first. He reached out to investors, but many didn't take him seriously. After all, who would want to invest in a magazine that combined classy content with adult themes? It was unheard of. But Hugh wasn't easily discouraged. He worked hard, and slowly but surely, he raised about $8,000 from 45 different investors. Even his mom pitched in, giving him $1,000. She didn't exactly believe in the magazine, but she believed in him, which gave him the courage to keep going. With the funds in place, he launched the HMH Publishing Corporation. But as he prepared to create his dream magazine, a new problem arose. There was already a men's adventure magazine called Stag, and its publisher threatened legal action if Hugh used that name. Hefner wasn't going to let this stop him. He began brainstorming new ideas with his wife and friends, and after a lot of discussion, they finally settled on the name Playboy. It wasn't just a name, it was a statement. A name that reflected who Hugh was and what he wanted Playboy to represent. Sophistication mixed with a little bit of fun, rebellion, and sexiness. In December 1953, Hugh launched Playboy. He had the name, the team, and a clear vision. But there was still something missing. Every successful magazine needs something that grabs people's attention, a hook that pulls them in. Hugh knew exactly what that was. He needed a model that would be unforgettable, someone who would make people stop flipping through the pages and want to buy the magazine. And the model he chose was MarilynMonroe. At that time, Monroe was already a famous actress and model, but before she became a star, she was just a normal girl trying to make ends meet. She had once posed nude for a calendar shoot to pay for her car, but no one had ever seen those photos, until Hugh did. He saw the potential in those images, and he knew that Monroe's beauty could give Playboy the edge it needed. So, for just $500, he purchased the rights to those photos, making them the centerpiece of the magazine's first issue. The first issue of Playboy sold for only 50 cents, but Hugh was nervous. Would people actually buy it? Was his idea as great as he thought? He didn't know for sure, but he did know one thing. Men were interested in this kind of content, and he was right. The first issue sold over 54,000 copies within weeks, turning Playboy into an instant success. With the first issue's success, Playboy quickly grew into a multi-million-dollar business. It wasn't just a magazine, it became a cultural phenomenon. Playboy became synonymous with the sexual revolution, a movement that challenged old social norms and celebrated freedom and pleasure. Hugh's image as the ultimate bachelor, living the good life with beautiful women and luxurious parties, became a symbol of the times. He was living the dream, and the world was watching. In 1959, Hugh made another bold move. He divorced his first wife, Mildred Williams, after a decade of marriage. The revelation of his infidelity made headlines, intensifying his Playboy image. Rather than damage his reputation, the divorce fueled his persona as a bachelor who lived life on his own terms. And after the divorce, he purchased the PlayboyMansion for $1.1 million. The mansion, located in Los Angeles, became more than just a home. It became a symbol of everything Playboy stood for. The mansion had everything. It was the ultimate place to throw wild, glamorous parties attended by celebrities and the rich and famous. It was a place where fantasies came to life. But Hugh didn't stop there. He wanted the Playboy lifestyle to be accessible to everyone, not just the rich and famous. So, in 1960, he opened the first Playboy Club in Chicago. But with so many clubs already in the city, he knew he needed something bold, something unforgettable. That's when the idea hit him. What if the club wasn't just a place to hang out, but a symbol of luxury and desire? And that's when the bunny dress was born. Hugh decided to have waitresses wear the iconic bunny outfits, turning them into a living, breathing symbol of Playboy. The moment they stepped into those costumes, they became the heart of the clubs. The Playboy clubs quickly became hotspots across the US and even around the world. Celebrities, socialites, and thrill seekers flocked to the clubs, eager to see and be seen. This bold move helped Hugh Hefner become one of America's most famous and talked about men. But Hugh took some questionable steps to grow his empire. In certain cities, Hefner used bribes to get his clubs opened, which didn't sit well with everyone. Investigations soon followed, and Hefner found himself facing accusations of corruption. He had always lived on the edge, but now the law was closing in on him. Despite these troubles, Hugh was seeing great success. But being in such a controversial business meant problems were always close by, and behind Hugh's fancy parties and growing empire, issues started to appear. In June 1963, Hugh Hefner found himself in the middle of a major legal battle. He was arrested for obscenity after publishing nude photos of actress Jane Mansfield in Playboy. The photos showed her lying in bed, completely nude, with a man beside her. Prosecutors argued this was obscene and suggestive, sparking a media frenzy. The trial attracted attention from all sides, with many seeing Hefner as standing up against censorship. The jury couldn't reach a decision, and the charges were eventually dropped, but the controversy was far from over. Soon after, feminist groups began protesting against Playboy, accusing Hefner of treating women as objects and promoting harmful stereotypes. These protests grew stronger in the late 1960s and 1970s, with activists arguing that Playboy helped create a culture that dehumanized women. Despite this, Hefner remained firm in his belief that Playboy was about sexual freedom and empowerment for women. But was it really about sexual freedom? However, these issues were insignificant for a man like Hugh Hefner, as nothing seemed to affect his business. But in 1974, something shocking happened that Hefner never saw coming. His secretary, Bobby Arnstein, got involved in a drug trafficking ring. The FBI saw this as a chance to take down Hefner and Playboy, but Bobby stayed loyal to Hefner, refusing to turn on him. Unfortunately, this decision led to her being sentenced to 15 years in prison. The worst part? While serving her sentence, Bobby took her own life, leaving Hefner devastated. This tragic event shook him to his core, leaving him confused and deeply saddened. In search of a fresh start, Hefner moved to Los Angeles. Many people thought it was the end for Playboy, but Hefner had other plans. He bought a new Playboy mansion in Holmby Hills for $1.05 million. Hefner, known for his wild parties, quickly made the mansion a symbol of his brand once again. Celebrities from every corner of the entertainment world flocked to the mansion, making it a hotspot for the rich and famous. It wasn't just a home, it was a statement, a beacon of the sexual revolution and Hefner's personal lifestyle. But the time was changing, and Hugh Hefner had to face new challenges. One of the biggest shocks came when Penthouse rose as a fierce competitor. Unlike Playboy, known for its glamorous and classy style, Penthouse took a bolder approach with more explicit content, including full-frontal nudity. This shift attracted readers looking for something edgier, and slowly, Playboy began losing some of its loyal followers. Hefner could no longer claim to be the only game in town. The competition was growing, and he knew he had to find a way to stay relevant. Around the same time, another trend was taking off: reality TV. Audiences were obsessed with shows that gave a peek into celebrities' private lives. Hefner saw an opportunity, realizing his own life at the Playboy Mansion was perfect for reality television. That's when The Girls Next Door came into play. The show gave viewers an inside look at life in the mansion, focusing on Hefner's 3 girlfriends, HollyMadison, Bridget Marquardt, and Kendra Wilkinson. The show quickly became a hit, offering a fascinating glimpse into Hefner's extravagant lifestyle and the relationships between him and his girlfriends. HollyMadison, with her charm and relatable personality, became the fan favorite. Bridget, the grounded one, often ventured outside the mansion. Kendra brought a fun, carefree energy that made her a star in her own right. As the seasons of The Girls Next Door went on, the dynamics between the women began to change. In 2009, Bridget left the Playboy Mansion to pursue a career in television. Soon after, Kendra left to focus on her relationship with NFL player Hank Baskett. Holly, who had been with Hefner since 2001, stuck around a little longer, but by 2010, she too decided to leave. The new cast that followed didn't have the same magic, and the show's viewership quickly dropped. By 2010, The Girls Next Door came to an end. When the show ended, the cast members began sharing their experiences. In 2015, HollyMadison released a memoir, Down the Rabbit Hole, where she opened up about the darker side of life at the mansion. She revealed how she often felt isolated and under pressure to meet Hefner's high expectations. This memoir, along with statements from other women, painted a different picture of the Playboy Mansion than the one fans had seen on TV. In 2017, the Playboy empire faced its biggest blow when Hugh Hefner passed away at the age of 91. He was buried next to MarilynMonroe, the woman who had helped launch Playboy's legacy. Hefner bought Monroe's grave in 1992 for $75,000, seeing her as an iconic figure in both his life and career. But what seemed like a perfect ending for a man who built an empire soon turned into something much darker. After his death, more former residents of the mansion came forward, revealing the horrifying experiences they endured behind closed doors. They revealed the strict and controlling atmosphere of the mansion, with curfews and tight rules. Many women spoke about the pressure to conform to Hefner's expectations. A documentary series called TheSecretsofPlayboy took the world by storm, sharing shocking stories of abuse. Some claimed that Hefner had forced women to take drugs like Quaaludes, which he called thigh openers, to make them more compliant. There were even reports of pig night, where young women were drugged, assaulted, and filmed for Hefner's private enjoyment. As the shocking truths about the Playboy Mansion came to light, the world was left questioning everything that had once seemed glamorous and untouchable. With Hefner's passing, the secrets that had been hidden behind closed doors finally began to surface, leaving a lasting impact on how we view the Playboy legacy. The story of Hugh Hefner is far from over, as the revelations continue to echo, reminding us that sometimes the price of fame and fortune is darker than we ever imagined.